Hello, welcome back. It's Monday and a new week. Let's read more. I did read about Pakistan, the country Pakistan, a few days ago. So why not read about the capital? No, not the capital. Read about Karachi. I will put it in my India video because Pakistan is a country next to India, like Bangladesh and Nepal. So it's 10 a.m. So I will go to my bed and read this. Then I will take a walk. Yes, I have a Danish video. I need to put public. So I need 30 seconds. Good. So let's read.
Karachi. This article is about the city in Pakistan. For other uses, see Karachi, disambiguation. Karachi, / Urdu, Sindhi, IPA, Karachi, is the capital city of the Pakistani province of Sindh. It is the largest city in Pakistan and the 12th largest in the world, with a population of over 20 million. It is situated at the southern tip of the country along the Arabian Sea coast and formerly served as the capital of Pakistan. Ranked as a Beta Global City, it is Pakistan's premier industrial and financial center, with an estimated GDP of over $200 billion, PPP, as of 2021. Karachi is considered Pakistan's most cosmopolitan city, and among the country's most linguistically, ethnically, and religiously diverse regions, as well as one of the country's most progressive and socially liberal cities. The region has been inhabited for millennia, but the city was formally founded as the fortified village of Kolakai as recently as 1729. The settlement greatly increased in importance with the arrival of the East India Company in the mid-19th century. British administrators embarked on substantial projects to transform the city into a major seaport, and connect it with the extensive railway network of the Indian subcontinent. At the time of Pakistan's independence in 1947, the city was the largest in Sindh with an estimated population of 400,000 people. Afterwards, the city experienced a dramatic shift in population and demography with the arrival of hundreds of thousands of Muslim immigrants, muhajirs, from India, coupled with a substantial exodus of its Hindu residents. The city experienced rapid economic growth following Pakistan's independence, attracting migrants from throughout the country and other regions in South Asia. According to the 2023 census of Pakistan, Karachi's total population was 20.3 million. Karachi is one of the world's fastest growing cities, and has significant communities representing almost every ethnic group in Pakistan. Karachi holds more than 2 million Bengali immigrants, a million Afghan refugees, and up to 400,000 Rohingyas from Myanmar. Karachi is now Pakistan's premier industrial and financial center. The city has a formal economy estimated to be worth $190 billion as of 2021, which is the largest in the country. Karachi collects 35% of Pakistan's tax revenue, and generates approximately 25% of Pakistan's entire GDP. Approximately 30% of Pakistani industrial output is from Karachi, while Karachi's ports handle approximately 95% of Pakistan's foreign trade. Approximately 90% of the multinational corporations and 100% of the banks operating in Pakistan are headquartered in Karachi. It also serves as a transport hub, and contains Pakistan's two largest seaports, the Port of Karachi and Port Qasim, as well as Pakistan's busiest airport, Jinnah International Airport. Karachi is also considered to be Pakistan's fashion capital, and has hosted the annual Karachi Fashion Week since 2009. Known as the City of Lights in the 1960s and 1970s for its vibrant nightlife, Karachi was beset by sharp ethnic, sectarian, and political conflict in the 1980s with the large-scale arrival of weaponry during the Soviet-Afghan War. The city had become well known for its high rates of violent crime, but recorded crimes sharply decreased following a crackdown operation against criminals, the MQM political party, and Islamist militants, initiated in 2013 by the Pakistan Rangers. As a result of the operation, Karachi dropped from being ranked the world's sixth most dangerous city for crime in 2014, to 128th by 2022. Etymology. Modern Karachi was reputedly founded in 1729 as the settlement of Kolakai Jogoth during the rule of Kalhora dynasty. The new settlement is said to have been named in honor of Kolakai, whose son is said to have slain a man-eating crocodile in the village after his elder brothers had already been killed by it. The name Karachi, a shortened and corrupted version of the original name Kolakai Jogoth, was used for the first time in a Dutch report from 1742 about a shipwreck near the settlement. History. Main articles: History of Karachi and Timeline of Karachi history. Early history. The region around Karachi has been the site of human habitation for millennia. Upper Paleolithic and Mesolithic sites have been excavated in the Mulri Hills along Karachi's northern outskirts. These earliest inhabitants are believed to have been hunter-gatherers, with ancient flint tools discovered at several sites. The expansive Karachi region is believed to have been known to the ancient Greeks, and may have been the site of Barbarican, an ancient seaport which was located at the nearby mouth of the Indus River. Karachi may also have been referred to as Ramyar in ancient Greek texts. The ancient site of Crocala, a natural harbour west of the Indus where Alexander the Great sailed his fleet for Achaemenid Assyria, may have been located near the mouth of Karachi's Mula River, though some believe it was located near Jizri. No other natural harbour exists near the mouth of the Indus that could accommodate a large fleet. Nearchus, who commanded Alexander's naval fleet, also mentioned a hilly island by the name of Morontabara and an adjacent flat island named Babakta, which colonial historians identified as Karachi's Manor Point and Kayamari, or Clifton, respectively, based on Greek descriptions. Both areas were island until well into the colonial era, when silting in led to them being connected to the mainland. In 711 CE, Muhammad bin Qasim conquered the Sindh and Indus Valley and the port of Dibble, from where he launched his forces further into the Indus Valley in 712. Some have identified the port with Karachi, though some argue the location was somewhere between Karachi and the nearby city of Thatta. Under Mirza Ghazi Beg, the Mughal administrator of Sindh, the development of coastal Sindh and the Indus River Delta was encouraged. Under his rule, fortifications in the region acted as a bulwark against Portuguese incursions into Sindh. In 1553-54, Ottoman Admiral Sadi Ali Reis mentioned a small port along the Sindh coast by the name of Karachi, which may have been Karachi. The Shokandi tombs in Karachi's modern suburbs were built around this time between the 15th and 18th centuries. Kolakai settlement and the first port. The first port was established by the Kalhoras near Karachi in the mid-18th century, known as Karak Bandar. 19th century Karachi historian Seth Naomal Hochand recorded that a small settlement of 20-25 huts existed along the Karachi harbour that was known as Dobro, which was situated along a pool of water known as Kolakai Jokan. In 1725, a band of Bullock settlers from Makran and Kalat had settled in the hamlet after fleeing droughts and tribal feuds. A new settlement was built in 1729 at the site of Dobro, which came to be known as Kolakai Jogoth, the village of Kolakai. The new settlement is said to have been named in honor of Mai Kolakai, a resident of the old settlement whose son is said to have slain a man-eating crocodile. Kolakai was about 40 hectares in size, with some smaller fishing villages scattered in its vicinity. The founders of the new fortified settlement were Sindhi Bainerias, and are said to have arrived from the nearby town of Karak Bandar after the harbour there silted in 1728 after heavy rains. Kolakai was fortified, and defended with cannons imported from Muscat, Oman. Under the Talpas, the Rai Bandar Road was built to connect the city's port to the caravan terminals. This road would eventually be further developed by the British into Bandar Road, which was renamed Muhammad Ali Jinnah Road. The name Karachi was used for the first time in a Dutch document from 1742, in which a merchant ship de Ridderkerk is shipwrecked near the settlement. In 1770s, Karachi came under the control of the Khan of Kalat, which attracted a second wave of Balochi settlers. In 1795, Karachi was annexed by the Talpas, triggering a third wave of Balochi settlers who arrived from central Sindh and southern Punjab. The Talpas built the Manor Fort in 1797, which was used to protect Karachi's harbour from Al-Qasimi pirates. In 1799 or 1800, the founder of the Talpa dynasty, Mir Fateh Ali Khan, allowed the East India Company under Nathan Crowe to establish a trading post in Karachi. He was allowed to build a house for himself in Karachi at that time, but by 1802 was ordered to leave the city. The city continued to be ruled by the Talpas until it was occupied by forces under the command of John Keane in February 1839. British control. The British East India Company captured Karachi on the 3rd of February 1839 after HMS Wellesley opened fire and quickly destroyed Manor Fort, which guarded Karachi harbour at Manor Point. Karachi's population at the time was an estimated 8,000 to 14,000, and was confined to the walled city in Mithada, with suburbs in what is now the Serai Quarter. British troops, known as the Company Bahadur, established a camp to the east of the captured city, which became the precursor to the modern Karachi cantonment. The British further developed the Karachi cantonment as a military garrison to aid the British war effort in the First Anglo-Afghan War. The Portuguese Goan community started migrating to Karachi in the 1820s as traders. The majority of the estimated 100,000 who came to Pakistan are primarily concentrated in Karachi. Sindh's capital was shifted from Hyderabad to Karachi in 1840 when Karachi was annexed to the British Empire after Major General Charles James Napier captured the rest of Sindh following his victory against the Talpas at the Battle of Miani. Following the 1843 annexation, on the 17th of February the entire province was amalgamated into the Bombay Presidency for the next 93 years, and Karachi remained the divisional headquarter. A few years later in 1846, Karachi suffered a large cholera outbreak, which led to the establishment of the Karachi Cholera Board, predecessor to the city's civic government. The city grew under the administration of its new commissioner, Henry Bartle Edward Frere, who was appointed in the 1850s. Karachi was recognized for its strategic importance, prompting the British to establish the port of Karachi in 1854. Karachi rapidly became a transportation hub for British India owing to newly built port and rail infrastructure, as well as the increase in agricultural exports from the opening of productive tracts of newly irrigated land in Punjab and Sindh. By 1856, the value of goods traded through Karachi reached £855,103, leading to the establishment of merchant offices and warehouses. The population in 1856 is estimated to have been 57,000. During the Sepoy Mutiny of 1857, the 21st Native Infantry, then stationed in Karachi, mutinied and declared allegiance to rebel forces in September 1857, though the British were able to quickly defeat the rebels and reassert control over the city. Following the rebellion, British colonial administrators continued to develop the city's infrastructure, but continued to neglect localities like Lai, which was home to the city's original population of Sindhi fishermen and Balochi nomads. At the outbreak of the American Civil War, Karachi's port became an important cotton exporting port, with Indus Steam Flotilla and Orient Inland Steam Navigation Company established to transport cotton from rest of Sindh to Karachi's port, and onwards to textile mills in England. With increased economic opportunities, economic migrants from several ethnicities and religions, including Anglo-British, Parsis, Marathis, and Goan Christians, among others, established themselves in Karachi, with many setting up businesses in the new commercial district of Sadar. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan, was born in Karachi's Wazir mansion in 1876 to such migrants from Gujarat. Public building works were undertaken at this time in Gothic and Indo-Saracenic styles, including the construction of Frere Hall in 1865 and the later Empress Market in 1889. With the completion of the Suez Canal in 1869, Karachi's position as a major port increased even further. In 1878, the British Raj connected Karachi with the network of British India's vast railway system. In 1887, Karachi port underwent radical improvements with connection to the railways, along with expansion and dredging of the port, and construction of a breakwater. Karachi's first synagogue was established in 1893. By 1899, Karachi had become the largest wheat exporting port in the east. In 1901, Karachi's population was 117,000 with a further 109,000 included in the municipal area. Under the British, the city's municipal government was established. Known as the father of modern Karachi, Mayor Seth Harkandre Ivy Shanders led the municipal government to improve sanitary conditions in the old city, as well as major infrastructure works in the new town after his election in 1911. In 1914, Karachi had become the largest wheat exporting port of the entire British Empire, after large irrigation works in Sindh were initiated to increase wheat and cotton yields. By 1924, the dry road aerodrome was established, now the Faisal Air Force Base. Karachai's increasing importance as a cosmopolitan transportation hub leads to the influence of non-Sindhis in Sindh's administration. Half the city was born outside of Karachi by as early as 1921. Native Sindhis were upset by this influence, and so on the 1st of April, 1936, Sindh was established as a province separate from the Bombay Presidency, with Karachi was once again made capital of Sindh. In 1941, the population of the city had risen to 387,000. Post-independence. At the dawn of independence following the success of the Pakistan movement in 1947, on the 15th of August, 1947, capital of Sindh shifted from Karachi to Hyderabad and Karachi was made the national capital of Pakistan. Karachi was Sindh's largest city with a population of over 400,000. The city had a slight Hindu majority, with around 51% of the population being Hindu. Partition resulted in the exodus of much of the city's Hindu population, though Karachi, like most of Sindh, remained relatively peaceful compared to cities in Punjab. Riots erupted on the 6th of January, 1948, after which most of Sindh's Hindu population fled to India, with assistance of the Indian government. Karachi became the focus for the resettlement of middle-class Muslim Muhajir refugees who fled India, with 470,000 refugees in Karachi by May 1948, leading to a drastic alteration of the city's demography. In 1941, Muslims were 42% of Karachi's population, but by 1951 made up 96% of the city's population. The city's population had tripled between 1941 and 1951. Urdu replaced Sindhi as Karachi's most widely spoken language. Sindhi was the mother tongue of 51% of Karachi in 1941, but only 8.5% in 1951, while Urdu grew to become the mother tongue of 51% of Karachi's population. 100,000 Muhajir refugees arrived annually in Karachi until 1952. Muhajirs kept arriving from different parts of India till 2000. Karachi was selected as the first capital of Pakistan, and was administered as a federal district separate from Sindh beginning in 1948. The capital of Sindh shifted again Hyderabad to Karachi until the national capital was shifted to Rawalpindi in 1958. While foreign embassies shifted away from Karachi, the city is host to numerous consulates and honorary consulates. Between 1958 and 1970, Karachi's role as capital of Sindh was ceased due to the one-unit program enacted by President Iskander Mirza. Karachi of the 1960s was regarded as an economic role model around the world, with Seoul, South Korea, borrowing from the city's second five-year plan. Several examples of modernist architecture were built in Karachi during this period, including the Mazar-e-Quaid Mausoleum, the distinct Masjid-e-Tuba, and the Habib Bank Plaza, the tallest building in all of South Asia at the time. The city's population by 1961 had grown 369% compared to 1941. By the mid-1960s, Karachi began to attract large numbers of Pashtun, Punjabis and Kashmiris from northern Pakistan. The 1970s saw a construction boom funded by remittances and investments from the Gulf states, and the appearance of apartment buildings in the city. Real estate prices soared during this period, leading to a worsening housing crisis. The period also saw labor unrest in Karachi's industrial estates beginning in 1970 that were violently repressed by the government of President Zulfikar Ali Bhutto from 1972 onwards. To appease conservative forces, Bhutto banned alcohol in Pakistan, and cracked down of Karachi's discotheques and cabarets, leading to the closure of Karachi's once lively nightlife. The city's art scene was further repressed during the rule of dictator General Zia al-Haq. Zia's Islamization policies lead the westernized upper-middle classes of Karachi to largely withdraw from the public sphere, and instead form their own social venues that became inaccessible to the poor. This decade also saw an influx of more than 1 million Bihari immigrants into Karachi from the newly made country Bangladesh, which separated from Pakistan in 1971. In 1972, the Karachi district divided into 3 districts, East, West and South districts. The 1980s and 1990s saw an influx of almost 1 million Afghan refugees into Karachi fleeing the Soviet-Afghan War. This was followed by refugees escaping from post-revolution Iran. At this time, Karachi was also rocked by political conflict, while crime rates drastically increased with the arrival of weaponry from the war in Afghanistan. Conflict between the MQM party and ethnic Sindhis, Pashtuns, Punjabis and Balokis was sharp. The party and its vast network of supporters were targeted by Pakistani security forces as part of the controversial Operation Clean-up in 1992, an effort to restore peace in the city that lasted until 1994. Anti-Hindu riots also broke out in Karachi in 1992 in retaliation for the demolition of the Babri Mosque in India by a group of Hindu nationalists earlier that year. In 1996, 202 more districts created in the Karachi division named Central and Mullah districts. The 2010s saw another influx of hundreds of thousands of Pashtun refugees fleeing conflict in northwest Pakistan and the 2010 Pakistan floods. By this point, Karachi had become widely known for its high rates of violent crime, usually in relation to criminal activity, gang warfare, sectarian violence, and extrajudicial killings. Recorded crimes sharply decreased following a controversial crackdown operation against criminals, the MQM party, and Islamist militants initiated in 2013 by the Pakistan Rangers. As a result of the operation, Karachi went from being ranked the world's 6th most dangerous city for crime in 2014, to 128th by 2022. In 2022, at least 1 million flood affectees from Sindh and Balochistan took refuge in Karachi. Geography. Main articles: Geography of Karachi and Environment of Karachi. Karachi is located on the coastline of Sindh province in southern Pakistan, along the Karachi Harbour, a natural harbour on the Arabian Sea. Karachi is built on a coastal plain with scattered rocky outcroppings, hills and marshlands. Mangrove forests grow in the brackish waters around the Karachi harbour, and farther southeast towards the expansive Indus River delta. West of Karachi city is the Cape Muns, locally known as Ras Muri, which is an area characterized by sea cliffs, rocky sandstone promontories and beaches. Karachi lies very close to a major fault line, where the Indian tectonic plate meets the Arabian tectonic plate. Within the city of Karachi are 2 small ranges, the Kaisa Hills and Mulri Hills, which lie in the northwest and act as a barrier between North Nizamabad and Oranjai. Karachi's hills are barren and are part of the larger Kurthar range, and have a maximum elevation of 528 meters. 1,732 feet. Between the hills are wide coastal plains interspersed with dry riverbeds and water channels. Karachi has developed around the Mullah River and Liai rivers, with the Liai shore being the site of the settlement for Kolakai. To the east of Karachi lies the Indus River floodplains. Climate. Main article: Climate of Karachi. Karachi has a hot desert climate, Köppen, BWH, dominated by a long summer season while moderated by oceanic influence from the Arabian Sea. The city has low annual average precipitation levels, approximate 174 millimeters, 7 in, per annum, the bulk of which occurs during the July-August monsoon season. Summers are hot and humid, and Karachi is prone to deadly heat waves. On the other hand, cool sea breezes typically provide relief during hot summer months. A text message-based early warning system alerts people to take precautionary measures and helps prevent fatalities during an unusually strong heat wave or thunderstorm.